Okay. Epidemiology, or epidemiological studies, this is a key term that you're going to see a lot in doing your research. What this means is they're just going to see what has happened thus far. It's tracking past records. That's what it is. It's tracking past records. So this clip on the link, I'm going to play for you, but it's a quick 5-minute video, and explains to you what this word means and why is it significant to public safety. So scientists, when they're offering their 2 cents to the policymakers, whoever is making the policy and the laws, because they're going to ask for expert advice. Like, we're policymakers, we're lawmakers, we're not exactly sure on the science of it, so we're going to invite scientific experts and say, can you prove to us whether this is good or bad, or this is safe or not, or whatever. And scientists will use epidemiology or epidemiological studies to prove their point. It really goes down to 2 main blocks, or 2 main branches. They're concerned with either distribution and epidemiology consists of 2 things. One is distribution, and the other one is causation. So how far is it out there? Depending on the demographics, so the age, the gender, stuff like that. But also they look for geographical, where are they located? Are they in Seoul? Are they in US? Are they whatever? But also in time. How long has this exposure been done to the people? Yeah.
So the epidemiology is just the background info, maybe.
Was that?
Because you have to consider all the how the land is shaped and the other factors that result to something else. So
Right.
it's that.
So epidemiology for 5G or for cell phone radiation would be looking into what areas have the widest coverage of 5G rollout, and how much of it is being exposed to what age group. Does that make sense? And for how long? And they will do a meta study on saying, okay, for this time period, for this area, this is what they were being at. And let's look at the outcomes. Let's look at particular incidents where we saw a health risk or whatever, we saw an increase of cancer cases or whatever it is. They'll look at the outcome. And using that outcome, they will say, okay, we had this much exposure, we had this much outcome. If we link them together, we can safely say it does or does not have a health effect. So the problem with epidemiology or epidemiological studies is that it's only concerned with the past. It's only concerned with the past. So it's all we know about what happened thus far. It doesn't tell us about what is going to happen, but you can make educated guesses. You can make educated guesses with uses. Was that? All right, let's move on. There's 2 camps, obviously, the pro side and the con side. Who wants to tell me what this side is? The next slide is another camp, it's another side. So who wants to tell me who can tell me this slide whether this slide is pro or con? Reading the slide, is it talking about the pro side or the con side?
The con side?
Con side, it is.
Because it talks about how it causes cancer.
This is NTP, National Toxicology Program. This was a US government research, 10-year period, $25 million put into this. So it's a big study, very big study, and released by the US government, right? Department of Health and Safety. And in 2006, they released their findings, and they said that, we saw increased incidence of tumors, bad tumors. Malignant means bad. Oh, right here. Well, increased incidence of tumors, cancers, on the brain and the heart. On the brain and the heart. Okay? In rats exposed to RF radiation. So the study involved beaming these lights or these waves to rats to see if the rats develop cancer. And this NTP study concluded that there is an increased risk. Okay? Concluded that tumors were considered likely the result of whole body exposures to 2 types of radiation, cell phones and Wi-Fi. So you have cell phones that you put in your pocket, blah, 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 but you also have Wi-Fi at home, at the school, at the whatever, at the cafe, everywhere you go, you're gonna get Wi-Fi. So these 2 types of exposures are the key ingredients here, according to the NTP. Now, what are the pro side going to say? FDA, Food Drug Administration. They are actually one of the agencies or organizations that is supposed to regulate or monitor or make sure there's no like health effects, there's no negative health effects. And if the FDA finds it, then they should tell the manufacturers, hey, replace it, change it, or whatever. Tell the people because this is not cool. The FDA is supposed to be doing that with FCC, Federal Communications Committee, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so in 2016, the NTP released their results, but obviously there were throwbacks and say, you know, blah, 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 I don't like this study, it wasn't done right, or blah, blah, blah. So what they did was for 2 years, they said, okay, we're gonna have a final peer review phase where we're gonna ask different scientists and say, can you check our work and see if it's okay, if it's scientific enough. So 2 years later, they released the peer review report, meaning that other scientists, other experts looked at it and they reviewed it, right? And concluded that there is a clear evidence. Clear evidence. Now, what does the FDA want to say about that? On the same day that they released this, on November 1st, on 2018, when NTP said, yeah, 2 years ago we released our report saying that there is an increased incidence, and we, for 2 years, we asked other experts, we asked other scientists to review it for us, and they came to the same conclusion. There is a clear evidence. On the same day, FDA said, no, we don't agree. Yeah? Go for it. FDA stated that they disagree with the conclusions of the NTP's final report regarding clear evidence of carcinogenic activity. You guys remember that word, carcinogenic?
Yeah.
Carcinogen?
Why are there such like big words?
Because science words.
Yeah.
This topic is very non-political.
It is kind of political.
I don't know if it's not political. There's definitely politics involved, but the main thrust is science. What are the scientists are saying? Like, how does the scientist feel about this, right? This is what the FDA said. The available scientific evidence continues to not support adverse health effects in humans caused by exposures to cell phone radio frequency or RF radiation. So within the US government, you have one agency, one department that's saying there is a clear evidence, and another agency that says no.
But then which one's correct?
Well, that's for y'all to decide, right? If there's a split, even amongst experts within, you know, commissioned reports from the U.S. government, then how is it possible for a normal person to really figure this out and say definitively, yeah, it's wrong or bad, or no, don't worry about it? So anybody that says definitively something is I don't know, it's kind of, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. So when NTP says there's a clear evidence and the FDA says that they disagree with it, then you have to understand why they said those things. You have to understand the both sides of the story.
This argument doesn't matter because there's evidence that it does and it doesn't.
Yeah, but they actually proved that that was safe by other sciences, so.
Again, these are key terms that I want you to take away to better form your arguments. The reason why I'm giving this to you is not to say, yeah, this is good or bad. That's not really in my case. Not really in my place. I'm not an expert at this. I'm just doing the research just as much as you guys. I mean, I have the same tools as you guys. I use Google, I use, you know, whatever, same thing. But in researching this topic, these are the key terms that I felt was really important for you to understand. So was it an industry-backed study? Was it not an industry-backed study? Was it an independent study like Senator Blumenthal mentioned on Monday when we saw the committee hearing? Also, we're flying blind here, that's what he said. So do we have enough research to prove that it's not healthy or it is healthy? And of the studies that we do have, are they industry funded or not industry funded? Something to think about when you're building your arguments. Again, epidemiology is going to be one of those key words that's going to be thrown around from both sides. Epidemiology, you know, epidemiological studies prove that there is a risk or there isn't a risk. Again, you have to understand what these words mean for you to really understand the context. And two camps you know, even within the same government, same U.S. government, they're going to have one side that says, yeah, there is a clear evidence, and the other side says, no, we don't have it. We don't have enough evidence to support it. So just keep that in mind.